Welcome, Radiant Soul. I am so glad that you're here. And I want you to know something right at the start, before we settle, before we breathe, before we go anywhere at all. What brought you to this transmission is not a coincidence. A part of you has been waiting to be met in something you've never quite known how to name. A wound that doesn't fit neatly into the language we have for wounds. Not the kind that comes from being unloved, not the kind that comes from being hurt in any obvious way. A different kind. The kind that lives in the body of someone who saw something true and was not believed, who spoke and was dismissed, who carried a knowing into a room and watched everyone act as if the knowing was the problem. This wound has a name. It has had one for 3,000 years. And today, very gently, we are going to meet it. You may not have known what it was called. You may have only known the cost of carrying it, the way it teaches you to second guess what you see, to soften your sentences until they almost disappear, to apologize for an instinct that turns out every time to have been correct. If any of that lands in your body, you are exactly where you're meant to be. This is not fully a meditation. This is a returning, a reclamation of the inner witness who learned to go quiet because the cost of being right kept being higher than the cost of being silent. You will receive in this transmission exactly what your soul is ready for, and there is nothing here to force, nothing to perform, nothing to figure out. So find yourself in a position where your body can rest, either seated or lying down, wherever you can just be soft. Let your eyes drift closed or soften into a low gaze. And if you're ready to begin this work with me, to receive the Reiki healing and the light code activations, simply say yes in your mind's eye now. Beautiful. Let's begin. There's a part of you that's been holding a great deal in silence. Not because the silence felt good, because the alternative kept costing too much. And I want to speak directly to that part now, to the inner seer who learned very early that telling the truth was not always safe, that seeing clearly came with consequences, that the people you most needed to be believed by were the ones least able to receive what you were saying. For some of you, this began all the way back into childhood. A parent who told you that you were imagining things when something in you knew you were not. A family that closed ranks around a version of reality that protected someone other than you. It may have begun in a relationship. A partner who slowly rearranged the events of your own life until you could no longer trust your own memory. A voice that told you, gently at first and then less so, that you were overreacting, oversensitive, overdramatic. Well, something inside you knew exactly what you had seen. Perhaps it started in a workplace. You flagged a problem early. You were dismissed. And then you watched, silently and angry, as the exact thing you warned about unfolded in front of everyone who had told you it wouldn't. For some, it was the doctor who told you your body was fine when you knew it wasn't, and it took years before anyone listened. It may have even been the spiritual community that had no language for what you were perceiving, and so they called your experience pride or imagination or something worse. Whatever shape this has taken in your life, I'm not here to tell you it was not real. It was real. The seeing was real. The dismissal was also real. The slow erosion of trust in your own knowing was real. And that exhaustion of having to choose again and again between belonging and truth was real. You were not crazy. You were never crazy. You were early. You were accurate. You were inconvenient to people whose comfort depended on you doubting yourself. That is a very different thing than being wrong. So let's take a slow breath now, together. In through your nose. And let it go. Long and soft, out through your mouth. Again, inhale slowly. And exhale, longer than the inhale. Good. We're going to begin by calling your energy home now. Part of why the inner witness feels so far away is that so much of you has been left behind, scattered across every room where you tried to be understood. Every conversation you replayed at 3 a.m, every moment you should have spoken and chose silence instead. Every time you walked out of a room knowing what you knew and second-guessed yourself in the parking lot. I invite you now, gently and without force, to call it all back. Imagine a soft, golden thread running from the center of your chest out to every place a piece of you is still waiting to be heard. Inhale. And let it all return. What was never yours to begin with, the dismissal, the doubt, the static of needing to be believed before you could even believe yourself does not come back with it. Only what is yours returns. Only what is sovereign. Only what is true. Now bring your awareness down through the base of your spine. Roots begin to grow from the bones of your hips, down through floorboards, foundations, layers of soil, down to the warm, gold-flecked core of the earth herself. Gaia is here. She has always been here, waiting to receive what you have been carrying alone. Let it pour down through the roots, the exhaustion of being the only one in the room who could see it. The grief of warnings unheard. The static of every dismissal you absorbed and never quite released. She receives it all. None of it is wasted, and none of it is judged. A soft, warm Reiki energy begins to move now from the crown of your head down through the spine, into those roots, settling you, holding you, reminding your body that this transmission is safe. You do not need to brace. You do not need to prove what you've been through. You are just being met here. The field is prepared now, and the constellation of allies is beginning to gather. So first we welcome in Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, the one who hears the cries of the world. She doesn't arrive with instruction, she arrives with stillness. She moves slowly toward the part of you that stops speaking, and sits beside that part of you, not to fix, not to interpret, simply to witness. Her presence is the first witness this inner seer has had in a very long time. And now, into this field, an ancestor steps forward. Her name is Cassandra. You may have heard her story. A daughter of Troy, a seer, given a gift she did not ask for, and cursed when she refused what was demanded of her body in exchange. Punished, not for being wrong, but for being right and saying no. Her seeing became her isolation. Her truth became her madness. She watched her city fall, knowing exactly what would happen, and was called insane for warning anyone who would listen. She's not coming here today as a tragedy, though. She's coming here as an ancestor. She has been waiting 3,000 years to do for you what no one was able to do for her. And she does not arrive alone. Behind her stand her sisters. Mary Magdalene, the witness to resurrection, who was disbelieved by the apostles and later rewritten into something she was not, so that what she had seen could be discredited. Hypatia, the philosopher and astronomer of Alexandria, torn apart for the crime of teaching what she knew. Joan, the girl who heard voices, led an army and was burned for refusing to recant what she had heard. The burned ones, the drowned ones, the accused, the institutionalized, the ones called hysterical for naming what was happening in their own homes, the ones who saw the harm coming and were told they were imagining it, the ones who simply went quiet because going quiet was cheaper than staying loud. They stand behind Cassandra now. A lineage 3,000 years long, a council of witnesses. And then, at the crossroads of the field, Hecate takes her position, torches in both hands, looking in every direction at once. She is the witness who needs no second to confirm what is true. Where Cassandra is the ancestor of the wound, Hecate is the destination beyond it. The seer who knows, who needs no consensus, who stands at the threshold and is not even afraid. And held throughout, we have the Oversoul of Aureya, the frequency that has been holding this entire field since long before you press play. The current of divine remembrance that whispers beneath everything. What you are about to receive was always yours. You are not earning it. You are returning to it. Bring your awareness now to your heart, the center of your chest. A soft rose gold light begins to gather there. Reiki, pure and warm, pulling at the heart. This is where the dismissals went. Every "you're being dramatic," every "you always read too much into things," every "I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of this." Let yourself remember now, not all of it, just what arises, just what wants to be witnessed. You don't have to fix any of it. You don't have to forgive yet. You don't have to understand why. You only have to let it be seen. Here's what is rising in the field now. Something I want to name very gently. The deepest grief here is not actually about them. It's not about the person who dismissed you. It is not about the room that didn't believe you. The deepest grief is about the moment after. The moment you walked away and started doubting yourself. The moment you began rehearsing every sentence in advance in case it could be used against you. The deepest grief is the grief of the inner seer who learned to go silent before anyone else could silence them. Kuan Yin moves closer now. Her hand very gently rests on that part of you, the one who learned to stop speaking. She's not here to wake them. She is here to let them know they were never wrong. They were just early. They were just true in a room that could not hold what was true. Reiki pours into the heart. The grief is allowed to move. And if tears come, let them. If a sigh comes, let it. If sound wants to rise, let it rise. And if stillness is what arrives, that is also the medicine. You are doing nothing wrong. You are being met. There's a contract that was placed on you that was never agreed to. The contract reads like this: to be believed, I must be agreeable. To be sovereign, I must be alone. My gift will cost me my belonging. My truth will cost me my safety. The seeing and the silencing come together. This is the curse that was placed on Cassandra. The gift offered in exchange for her body, and when she refused the exchange, the gift was twisted into a punishment. It was never a real contract. It was a coercion dressed as a covenant. And today, with the full witness of this entire lineage behind you, it ends. Cassandra steps forward now. In her palm is the contract. Every clause of it, every false agreement you absorbed, from every moment your knowing was met with punishment. You do not have to read it. You don't have to remember each line. You only have to be willing to release it. If you are willing, let yourself speak the revocation now, silently or out loud. I revoke this contract. I revoke every agreement that bound my seeing to my silencing. I revoke every agreement that said my gift had to cost me my belonging. I revoke every agreement signed under coercion. In this lifetime or any other, by me or by anyone in my lineage. I revoke, I revoke, I revoke. And now, the violet flame. Archangel Zadkiel's fire moves from the base of your spine through every cell, every layer of the field. It doesn't burn you. It transmutes only what is false, only what was never yours, only those things placed on you by force or by fear, by inheritance. See the contract dissolving in the violet flame, every thread of it unraveling, the false agreement turning to ash and then to light. What remains when the curse burns away is the gift. Clean, sovereign, yours. Severed from punishment, severed from isolation, severed from the bargain that was never yours to sign. Cassandra witnesses all of this. She is finally able to do for her descendants what could not be done for her. The unbinding she could not receive in her own lifetime moves through you now, and through her in retrospect, and through every sister witness standing behind her. The whole lineage exhales together. Bring your awareness now to your throat. A soft blue light begins to gather there, the color of deep ocean, of twilight sky, of the space between speaking and silence. This is the gate that closed, not because you wanted it to close, because every time it opened, something was taken. Reiki moves into the throat now. Warm, unhurried. It doesn't force the gate open. It softens what's around it. It reminds the body that the throat is allowed to be open. That speaking is allowed to be safe. That truth is allowed to land here in this body without consequences. Here is what is being remembered. The voice does not reopen because it needs to be heard. The voice reopens because it is whole. Your speaking is complete even when it is not received. Let that land. Your speaking is complete even when it is not received. You don't need the other person to nod. You don't need anyone to agree, to apologize, or to even understand. The saying of the true thing is the medicine. What happens after is not your responsibility. A new frequency anchors at the throat now. The believedness comes from inside, not from the consensus around it. You believe you. That is the only signature this gate needs from now on. Now we go to the third eye, the space between and just above the brows. An indigo light gathers there. This is the seat of perception. And for a long time, the perception has been distorted. Not because the seeing was wrong, but because every time the seeing was true, your body learned to second guess it. The doubt was layered over the gift like silt over a clear spring. Reiki, indigo, and gold moves through that third eye. The silt is gently lifted. The doubt that was self-protective, because doubt was safer than being right, is no longer needed. The seeing was always accurate. What was distorted was your relationship to it. Hecate now offers her mantle. This is not a costume, it is a recognition. She has been holding a seat at the crossroads of this field this entire time. The seat of the seer who needs no second to confirm what is true. The witness whose authority comes from within. She offers that seat to you. If you are willing to take it, let these words move through you now. I am one of the believed ones now, because I believe me. My knowing does not require permission. My seeing does not require approval. My voice does not require an audience to behold. Feel yourself take the seat. Settle into it. The seer's seat at the crossroads. The witness who stands in their own knowing without needing the world to confirm it. The crown opens now. A column of gold light pours down now from above. Divine wisdom meeting the seer's seat you have just taken. The vertical line of sovereignty restored. And in the distance, walking toward you across the field, is a future version of you. the one who speaks what they see and meets their own witness inside before anyone else has the chance. The one who doesn't flinch when the truth is theirs to tell. The one who has reclaimed the gift without the curse. The one who is believed, first and most importantly, by themselves. This future self walks closer and closer and merges with you now. The Elohim of divine order step forward. Weavers of the crystalline grid, they begin to seal what has been activated here. Light filaments thread through the field, anchoring in this new frequency. Throat to third eye. Third eye to crown. Crown to heart. Heart to root. The full column sealed in light. What has been received cannot be unreceived. What has been remembered cannot be unremembered. The gift is yours now, clean, sovereign, returned. Begin to bring your awareness back to your body. Feel the weight of your body wherever it rests. Feel the points of contact where you meet the chair, the bed, the floor. Final wave of grounding Reiki moves from crown to root, sealing you back into this present moment, back into this day, back into the body that just received something it has been waiting a very long time to receive. And I want to offer deep gratitude now to Kuan Yin for the compassion that met the part of you no one else has met. To Cassandra, who is finally able to do for her descendants what could not be done for her. She remains in the field, watching her lineage walk forward, whole now. to Mary Magdalene, Hypatia, Joan, and every sister witness in the lineage of dismissed seers. They stand behind you now, not as ghosts, but as guardians. To Hecate, who held the seer's seat until you were ready to take it, the seat is yours now. To the Elohim of divine order, the violet flame, and the Oversoul of Aureya, who held this entire field with steady, sovereign grace. We thank you, we honor you, and we release you with love. I am sealing your field now with gold and white Reiki light, a luminous boundary around your entire energy body. Nothing enters that is not aligned with your highest truth. Everything that needed to leave has left. You are whole, you are clear, you are sovereign. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your shoulders gently and take one more deep breath in. And exhale fully, completely. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, let your eyes drift open, welcoming the room back around you. I want you to know something before we close. You were never crazy, and you were never paranoid. You were never too much. You were a seer in a world that didn't yet have language for what you saw. And that has been the wound. But from this moment forward, with the full witness of this lineage behind you, and with the Hecate seat anchored at your crossroads, this gift is severed from the curse, and it doesn't have to be a wound anymore. And just remember, you can return to this transmission whenever you need it. It will always meet you at a new layer each and every time. The medicine is not used up by one listening. And if something landed in you here today, if a part of you that had been quiet for a long time finally exhaled, or if you finally recognize yourself in this wound, I would love for you to continue this work with me. Inside my Temple of Mysteries, membership is an experience that I'm calling She Who Rises. It takes each initiate on a journey through Inanna's 7-gate descent and ascent. And if you feel called to release and reclaim even more of yourself, you can meet me inside. The link is in the description below. Until next time, Radiant Soul, I am so honored to do this work alongside you. You are believed.